Writers create for no rhyme or reason, any month, any day, any time. Well, after today, it'll just be no reason, because we're going to talk about rhyme. Today we're going to look at 10 techniques of rhyming, and the first one is perfect rhyme. Now, you're probably already familiar with perfect rhyme, but let's give it an exact definition. Perfect rhyme is when two words sound exactly the same, starting from their last stressed vowel. Let's break that one down. So, ignoring the consonants of the last stressed syllable of a word, the rest of it has to be exactly the same. Table, cable, fable. In these cases, the last stressed syllable just happens to be the first syllable. Cable, table, fable. But we don't care about the consonants. We just care about the last stressed vowel to the end of the word. And they all just happen to be able. Now, there are two kinds of perfect rhyme that we're going to talk about: monosyllabic and multisyllabic. These are also referred to as masculine and feminine rhymes, but to be honest, that's not very descriptive and it's a little outdated, so we're just going to ignore those. Monosyllabic rhymes are just that, one-syllable rhymes. Met, let, bit, kit, cat, hat. You know, that last one sounds pretty good. Yeah, someone should write a book about that. The next type, multisyllabic, are many syllables, two or more. Ability, stability, agility. The last stressed vowel is the I of ility, and they all happen to match up, so it works. We also have amuse and peruse. Notice in that last example, the last stressed syllable is the last syllable, and it's ooze. We can lengthen these words to amusing and perusing, and it still works because oozing and oozing are the same. So oozing is totally fine. Could you tell my doctor that? Let's talk about their use case. Perfect rhymes are punchy and satisfying to hear. But if you use too many of them, your lyric might start to sound kind of nursery rhymey, which might be what you're going for, but just something to be aware of. Multisyllabic rhymes are just a little bit more complex, but still can be perfectly understandable. They're great if you want to show that your character is maybe a little bit more clever, or at least that they're working through something difficult. But you don't always have to be clever to be really effective. There's a great musical theater lyric that ends on a single syllable rhyme, and it's very effective. In the song Maybe They're Really Magic, the baker's wife sings this: "There are rights and wrongs and in-betweens. No one waits when fortune intervenes. And maybe they're really magic, who knows? Why you do what you do, that's the point, all the rest of it is chatter. If the thing you do is pure in intent, if it's meant and it's just a little bent, does it matter? No, what matters is that everyone tells tiny lies. What's important really is the size. Only 3 more tries and we'll have our prize. When the end's in sight, you'll realize if the end is right, it justifies the beans." Did you catch that last rhyme? Beans actually rhymes with intervenes. And that's like way earlier in the song. So he gives us this great setup that ends with a single syllable word, beans, which literally is what the song is about. Figuratively, that's another matter. Okay, so as I'm editing, I realized there are 2 more small subcategories to talk about. The baker's wife rhymes prize and size with realize. Now, the last stressed syllable of realize is realize. So that's not a perfect rhyme with size or prize. That's called a weak rhyme, when you rhyme a stressed syllable with an unstressed syllable, or rhyming 2 unstressed syllables. Now the second subcategory is called a syllabic rhyme, when you rhyme a single syllable with another word, regardless of stress. So if we want to be really specific here, rhyming prize and size with realize is a weak syllabic rhyme. Perfect rhymes are great. They are satisfying to listen to. And if you think you're too cool for them, just listen to these quotes by Stephen Sondheim. Yeah, he wrote a few musicals. "A perfect rhyme snaps the word, and with it the thought, vigorously into place, rendering it easily intelligible. A near rhyme blunts it." He also said, "Using near rhyme is like juggling clumsily. It can be fun to watch, and it is juggling, but it's nowhere near as much pleasure for the audience as seeing all the balls, or in the case of the best lyrics, knives, lit torches, and swords, being kept aloft with grace and precision. In the theater, perfect rhyme works best on every level." There you go, from the man himself. Hi, Jesse in a different shirt here. I just wanted to take a quick break and let you know that if you're enjoying the video, if you're finding it educational and valuable, then it's a part of a larger course that I've made available for free in my school group. It's a group for theater writers, so if you're a lyricist, composer, or playwright/book writer, we would love to have you come join our free community. The link's down below. Hope to see you there. Okay, bye. Now he mentions another kind of rhyme, which is the one we're going to talk about next, near rhyme or slant rhyme. Now, these can be really broad, but basically they're just any two words or sounds that are pretty close, but not exact. Let's talk about their use cases, of which there are many. Now, you can use them anywhere, but they're very effective in the middles of lines and at the ends of lines that aren't quite as final. They're also really effective when you're stacking a lot of rhymes next to each other. Because perfect rhymes are so punchy, they can get kind of annoying if you stack them back to back to back to back. The cat in the hat spat at that gnat, I don't know. Now, not only is it kind of wrong sounding, it's also kind of hard to understand. Here's an example of a slant rhyme being used in the song Don't Rain on My Parade. Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putta. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade. Did you hear it? Around and cloud. Close, but not exactly the same. If you want to see great uses of slant rhyme, turn to rap music. Not just in musical theater, but rap music in general. They're great at using slant rhyme. You might be familiar with a little musical called Hamilton. There's a lot of rhymes in Hamilton, and a lot of them are slant rhymes. We'll look at an example a little later. Now, the next type of rhyme is an easy one, the identical rhyme. And it's just what it sounds like. It's the same word or sound. Here's an example you might know. Tell them how I am defying gravity. Kiss me goodbye, I'm defying gravity. That's just the same word. The next type of rhyme is one of my favorites to use. It's called the mosaic rhyme. Mosaic rhymes allow you to group together words to make larger rhyming sounds. Here's a lyric from Sweeney Todd. But again, the trouble with poets is how do you know it's deceased? Try the priest. The song A Little Priest is actually full of mosaic rhymes. Check it out if you want some inspiration. The next type of rhyme, I think number 5 on my list, is the forced perfect rhyme. Now, these are words that don't normally rhyme together, but you just change the pronunciation of one of them to make it rhyme. The song Tonight at 8 from She Loves Me has a great example in it. By the way, if you haven't seen that show, you definitely should. It's amazing. I haven't slept a wink, I only think of our approaching tete-a-tete, tonight at 8. Now, normally we would pronounce this tete-a-tete, but we change it to make it rhyme with 8. Here's another one from Where's the Life That Late I Led from Kiss Me Kate. Where's the fun I used to find? Where has it gone? Gone with the wind. As you can tell, these are mostly used for comedic effect, but they can also let us know that a character may not be that smart. Another one of my favorite kinds of rhyme is called the rhyme by enjambment. That's just fun to say. A rhyme by enjambment is when you continue the line even after the rhyme is done. Let's go back to the example in defying gravity. Tell them how I am defying gravity. Kiss me goodbye, I'm defying gravity. The I in defying keeps going and ends with the identical rhyme. There's another example that I really liked as a kid, and it's not exactly musical theater, but this is my video, so tough. It's in Weird Al's Ode to a Superhero, which is a parody of Piano Man. Now, Norman's a billionaire scientist who never had time for his son. But then something went screwy, and before you knew he was trying to kill everyone. Screwy and knew he? Super fun. It's a great rhyme for a few reasons. Now, it's a perfect rhyme in sound, but it's also a mosaic rhyme, multiple words, knew he, and a rhyme by enjambment. The phrase keeps going. I see you, Al. Nice one. All right, let's keep going. This next one, the I rhyme, is actually not super useful to us as lyricists. This is a rhyme that looks the same on the page, but doesn't sound the same. For example, though and tough, womb and bomb, laughter and daughter. The use case for these ones, they're great in poetry and literature, just not so much for lyrics. Okay, the next example is not so much what rhyme, but where rhyme. And no, I'm not talking about a rhyme that terrorizes the village every full moon, although that would be cool. Internal rhymes are just rhymes in the middle of your limes. Now, all of the types of rhyme that we've used so far are fair game, but there are 2 techniques that are especially fun to use in internal rhyme: consonance and assonance. Consonance is the repeating of consonant sounds, and assonance is the repeating of, it's not asses, vowel sounds. That's it. Now, even though this is just an intro course, there's a more advanced topic that I think would be really beneficial to talk about. When you're using consonants, there's a little bit of a secret sauce that you can use. So most consonants in the English language have a voiced and unvoiced counterpart. Voiced just means you can put a pitch to it. Unvoiced means you can't. For example, we form the letters B and P the exact same way, but B has pitch and P doesn't. Ba 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 ba. Can't do it. Here's the full list of voiced sounds and their unvoiced counterparts. V and F, V, F. B and P, B, P. D and T, D, T. G and K, G, K. Z and S, Z, S. Then we also have some consonant groups. There's the TH sound that can be voiced as in the or unvoiced as in thin. There's J and Ch as in joy and chair, and there's J and Sh as in pleasure and shoe. You can use these interchangeably and it's still effective because the consonants are formed the same way. I think it's pretty cool. Here's a line I just made up that's not going to win any awards, but it'll illustrate the point. In this example, we're going to use D and T. The dew trickled down the tavern door. Let's look at an example from Sunday in the Park with George. Sunday in the Park with George. It's late. Let's look at a lyric from Sunday in the Park with George that has quite a few examples of this. And yeah, I know I'm using Sondheim a lot, but he wrote a lot of great rhymes. Well, there are worse things than staring at the water on a Sunday. There are worse things than staring at the water as you're posing for a picture being painted by your lover in the middle of the summer on an island in the river on a Sunday. We have pretty straightforward consonants in the repeating of the W sound. But we also have the unvoiced and voiced TH, things, than, the, there. We have the P and B example, as you're posing for a picture being painted by your lover. We even have a little sneaky one in the F and V sounds, as you're posing for a picture being painted by your lover, in the middle of the summer on an island in the river. And it ends on an identical rhyme, Sunday with Sunday. So far, that's an example from Stephen Schwartz's Wicked and Stephen Sondheim's Sunday in the Park with George. So don't knock identical rhymes. To sum it all up, we're going to look at the opening lyric from Hamilton. It uses a lot of these techniques, and honestly, this is something Lynn is excellent at. How does a bastard orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman, dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by Providence, impoverished in squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar? We have assonance in the sound. How does a bastard orphan, son of? We have a slant rhyme, orphan, whore and I'm sure you noticed it's also a mosaic rhyme. A mixture of perfect and slant rhymes with Scotsman, dropped in, forgotten, and spotten. Notice we also have a rhyme by enjambment in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean. The line keeps going. We have a mixture of consonants and assonance in the P and A sounds, Providence, impoverished, in squalor. And then we end with a great two-syllable perfect rhyme, squalor and scholar. When you need to drive home the point, nothing works as well as a perfect rhyme. And that's all of them. We've covered the whole gamut, from perfect to slanting to I rhymes and so on. Now, that's not an exhaustive list of every type of rhyme, but pretty close to it. And it should definitely give you a great launching off point in your own lyric writing. Before you go though, I just want to issue a little warning about rhyme. And it's a problem that a lot of young lyricists face, and I've been guilty of it myself plenty of times. You may have heard the phrase, content dictates form. The thing you're writing about should dictate how you write about it. In nearly all cases, I totally agree with this sentiment. So don't let a convenient rhyme fundamentally change the thing that you're trying to say. There are a lot of words that mean the same or similar things. I found that you can express pretty much any idea through rhyme if you just look hard enough for the right word. All right, and that's the whole video. Again, if you found it valuable, the whole course is available for free in my school group. It's called ShowLAB, and it's linked down below. And yeah, if you liked the video, like, subscribe, share. That's all free stuff that you can do that's incredibly helpful for creators, but I'd rather see you in the school group. So if you think it might be for you, at least come check it out. It's a fun place. All right, I'll see you there. Bye.